We all have limited amounts of money that we can spend and that we can give in the way of Allah. And so the third example of where people go to israf in expenditure, in giving good, is where they decide to do good actions, which in and of themselves would have been good, but they become repetitive or they become redundant within a society. Imagine, for example, you live in an area and you have 4 masajid or 4 Husainiyas, 4 Imam Bargas, and they're all, just maybe moderately populated, nothing extreme, but there's enough room for everybody, and everybody's comfortable in those centers. And somebody comes along and says, you know what, I have a lot of money, I have this wish, this umeed, this desire to build a center in a particular way. And so although there are already 4 centers in this geographic area, I'm going to build a 5th center. Not because the community needs it, not because the community wants it, not because there's an influx of immigrants, but just because I have money and I want to do something that will be a lasting legacy for myself. That can be considered israf in doing good, because you're building something that doesn't need to be there in society. You're not thinking, well, we need madrasas for children. We need full-time schools for our children. Rather than going to the public schooling system and being indoctrinated by the Western system and learning all these new gender pronouns and definitions and multiple genders, and our children are going to public school and getting confused. Is this a man or a woman? Is it a he or a she? What do I call them? Right? Rather than them going through that entire indoctrination process, why not build a school that would allow our children to go and learn the same Western secular curriculum of English and maths and all the sciences, but have Quran, have Islamic teachings, right? Start the day with the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'll tell you as a personal example, my own family went to public school in Canada, and you go to the assembly in the morning in the gymnasium, and they're playing the latest song by whatever musician is on the top of the charts, and you see what happens to the children. And now in the last year that I've been working in a Shia-based full-time school in Canada, every morning we start with Surah Al-Fatiha for the thawab of the marhumin of our community. Every morning we start with dua, Allahumma kulli waliyaka. Believe me, I have seen children who are in grade 1, grade 2, who are 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old. They'll come to the assembly hall, take the microphone in hand, on screen, by heart, they're reciting Allahumma kulli waliyaka. Right? It's amazing to see a child at 5 years old. They can't even read the English, so we have an older student come to read the English translation every morning in the assembly. But a 5-year-old has memorized surahs of the Quran, du'as of the Imam, and they come and recite it with eloquence and beauty. You can't compare the two, starting school with a song, which is haram, compared to reciting Quran and du'as of the 12th Imam. Right? You can't compare going to class and learning about 25 different gender pronouns or whatever it's at now. I've lost count of how many pronouns are out there. You can't compare that to going to class and starting with Quran, with hadith, with a motivational thought for the morning for the children to begin their day. There's no comparison. So is there reward to build an Imam Barga or Husainiya? No doubt. But if you've got multiple centers, why do you need another one? Why not build a school? Why not say we need a hawza? We need a higher level of seminary to teach our next generation, to get them on the platform, and then to go to Najaf or go to Qum or go to wherever to continue their studies. We have young men in our community and young women who can't afford to get married. They can't afford the basics. Right? Rather than another center which will just replicate what's going on and may cause divisions, why not allow our youth to get married, pay for all the expenses that they have? Right? There are so many things, but when we become maybe a bit narrow-sighted, our vision is narrow, we just think, oh, Imam Barga, Majlis, Imam Hussein, Matam, Azadari, I'll build another center, people will cry, I'll get more thawab. Well, you might. But what if that center was not needed? What if it's causing friction? What if it's actually causing confusion and separation in the community? Then God forbid, you're not doing a good act. You might actually be contributing to a further split and a division in a community. Whereas a school, definitely you get reward for it, educating and making sure our next generation are on the right path. There's no doubt that Allah would reward that act and any other good action that is there, that the community, that our society needs, would be given the rewards by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.